In today's video, I'm going to show you everything that you need to start live streaming like a pro. There's actually a lot of value in this setup and I didn't waste any money, but it's not exactly cheap, but it can produce some seriously high quality live streams. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to Zach's Tech Turf, where I not only talk about PC streaming and PC gaming setups, but I also do that over on twitch.tv/Zach's Tech Turf every Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure you're following me over there. But before that, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and also that notification bell. That way you never miss an episode. But yeah, let's check this setup out. Today's video is sponsored by my personal favorite remote monitoring and managing solution, Pulseway. Pulseway is a platform that allows you to completely control and monitor all of your systems inside your network, which is not only great for bigger businesses, but even for people like me with my YouTube studio. And the best part is that you can do everything from your mobile device. I have servers and PCs all around my house, and with Pulseway, I can easily remote desktop into any of them. Maybe I want to start up a game update like Call of Duty before I get home. That way when I arrive, it's good to go. I can also get a snapshot of current system statuses such as temperatures of all my hardware components. I can see the resource usage, manage Windows updates, keep all my third-party apps up to date, and I can even create custom workflows to automate mundane IT tasks. I've been using Pulseway for over a year now, so I can actually recommend it, and you can get an account for free for personal use by using the link down in the description, or you can check out their business version, which has the most functionality. So like I mentioned first, this setup that you're looking at here produces an insanely high quality live stream, and I actually fully tested this out on one of my own Twitch live streams. Instead of streaming at my normal setup, I actually used every single piece of gear here for a live stream just so I got the proper experience needed to make this video, and I'll have the entire live stream linked down in the description if you want to check it out after this video. I'll also have everything we talk about today linked down there as well.
Sit down, another headshot.
Before getting into each individual piece of gear, I want to recap that live stream, and everything actually went super smoothly and I was really happy with how it turned out. I played through 4 different games of various graphical requirements to test out the PC, Torchlight 3, Borderlands 3, Call of Duty Warzone, and of course everyone's favorite Fortnite.
Ooh! Ooh! Not good enough though. He didn't have a lot of health. Oh my god! Oh my god! Wow, absolutely owning.
We'll talk about the PC specs right after this, but just so you know what the performance of this live streaming setup can produce, I was easily able to stream Call of Duty Warzone in 1080p and low to medium settings at 60 FPS. I was playing at 144 FPS as well.
This is gonna be bad. I don't have it. Oh, that was disgusting. Oh.
I also streamed Borderlands 3 at 1080p and medium settings at 60 FPS, which is really graphically demanding with 0 issues. And then of course I could stream Fortnite in 1080p Pro settings at 60 FPS, and I was playing at 144 FPS for that one as well.
Oh my god, we got a Fortnite kill on stream. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, another guy. Oh, a double kill on stream. Wow, you cannot make this up.
So now that you can see what type of live streaming quality this setup produces, I want to talk about each individual product specifically, and we'll start with the $1,250 all-black ITX gaming PC, which I actually made a dedicated video on, which you can check out up here. That video has a ton of detail in there about every single component with much more benchmarks, but for a quick recap, it's actually rocking an Intel i5-10400, which is a 6-core CPU, 16GB of DDR4 RAM, and an RTX 2060 Super. This is an ITX build, and at the time of making this video, this Intel CPU and ITX mobile combo was cheaper than any Ryzen CPU and ITX mobile combo that I could find, so that's why I went with Intel for this build. You can certainly get the same gaming and streaming performance that I got with the cheaper build that's rocking a 6-core Ryzen CPU and not ITX. There's a ton of money that went into this ITX gaming PC that doesn't help performance, so just know that you could get the same performance with a properly configured $700 to $800 gaming PC. Moving on from the PC, we'll start with the streaming specific gear before the peripherals. The camera that I used was this Sony a5100, which I've actually been rocking for my own Twitch live streams for the past few months. This is one of the most go-to mirrorless cameras that streamers are using these days, as it's rocking a flip-up display, clean HDMI out, and interchangeable lenses. But when you buy this camera with the kit lens, which is perfectly fine to start with, it'll cost you around $450. I do have the camera mounted on an iKnowGear boom arm stand, but that isn't specifically required depending on where and how you want the camera positioned. Next up, we got some big love from Elgato to make this video possible. possible. First up, they sent over their new Keylight Air, also rocking this in my main live streaming setup, and I'm sure you already know by now that this is an obvious choice for lighting for streamers. The Keylight Air is able to be completely controlled from the Elgato Control Center software. You can quickly change the brightness and temperature levels, but even better is that you can map it to your Elgato Stream Deck. Speaking of which, this is the middle-sized Stream Deck, which is rocking 15 buttons, and although it will definitely sound bougie of me to say this, but I really wouldn't want to live stream without one of these. I've become so accustomed to the many features that the Stream Deck has, most importantly being able to map an unlimited amount of streaming controls to the keys, that I'm at the point where I don't even want to imagine streaming without one of these in my setup. The Stream Deck software has a ton of built-in controls for the major streaming platforms that allows you to quickly change your scene, play some GIFs, control your Elgato lights, and now there's even integration with the Wave 3 microphone, which is hands down my absolute favorite part about this setup. Just as a disclaimer, I'm now fully a fanboy of the Wave 3 microphone, and I'll happily admit that. If you've been watching my Twitch live streams, then you'll already know how much I love this microphone. The Wave 3 is not only a really high quality sounding USB microphone, but where it shines is in the Elgato mixing software, which completely eliminates my personal need of something like a $500 Go XLR. The Wavelink software allows you to set up 6 digital inputs that you can assign to things like your game, voice chat, a browser, and of course your microphone. You can then mix and control the volumes of them, but there's also sub-mixing, which essentially allows you to control 2 different mixes, one that's your actual stream output and one that you're monitoring. That way you can set different levels for them depending on the situation. A really great example of this is when you're streaming a first-person shooter where you need to hear the footsteps. The audience doesn't really care about the footsteps, so you really just want to crank up the music and the game volume for their pleasure, but then in your monitoring microphone, you want to just completely turn off the music so you can only hear the footsteps. It's awesome. The Wave 3 software doesn't work without the microphone plugged in, so good thing it actually sounds awesome as well. There are still certainly some advantages of using a proper XLR microphone and Go XLR, but the Wave 3 has removed my need to go beyond that, and I have a feeling I'm going to be using this in my own live streams for quite some time. And for our last Elgato product, we have the green screen. Elgato actually has 2 different models, one that folds up and down from the floor and one that can hang on the wall or the ceiling, and the latter is the version that I opted for. Having the green screen behind you when streaming allows you to only display yourself during gameplay live streams, and as you can see here, both myself and my viewers of the test stream agreed that this looks super clean. This Elgato version is rocking some really high quality thick material that I don't have to worry about wrinkling or anything, and it's also a super smooth operation when raising and lowering it. Moving on from Elgato products, you'll need a headset or headphones to monitor your own audio levels and of course listen to the game you're playing. I personally went with the Audio-Technica M40Xs because I think it's a good balance of price to performance, but you certainly don't need this high of quality and you can get away with something cheaper. I would, however, definitely recommend going with a wired pair of headphones. That way you can plug them in directly to the back of the Elgato 3 microphone so you can monitor your own stream, including your voice levels in real time without any lag. And finally, for our last streaming specific piece of gear, we have the HDMI capture card for the Sony a5100 camera. Usually in this case, I would recommend going with the Elgato Camlink 4K, which is what I personally use, but with our current world events going on, I tried to use something different that was actually in stock, unlike the Camlink, and I found this PartyLink HDMI USB capture card to work just fine. This actually doesn't require any software at all, and Windows automatically installed the drivers that you need. It just worked right out of the box, and I have zero negative things to say about it. Okay, so with the streaming specific gear out of the way, it's now time to talk about the basic setup peripherals, and I'm gonna rapid fire through these a bit because I actually have dedicated videos to a lot of these products, and they don't really affect your actual live stream's quality like the gear we just talked about. For the main monitor, I chose the Asus VP249QGR. This is a 24-inch 1080p and 144Hz panel with an absolute nasty price to performance ratio, as it usually sits at only $160, and this is my absolute #1 recommendation here in 2020 for a budget 1080p and 144Hz gaming monitor. Beside it is a secondary cheaper monitor. I don't even want to think about live streaming without at least a second monitor, and this is the Acer SB220Q, which is just a super budget 1080p and 60Hz panel. There's absolutely no reason to spend more money than this, and it serves its purpose perfectly, as it's showing the Twitch live stream, Streamlabs OBS, and the Wavelink software while I'm playing a game on the main display. Next up, we get to the keyboard and mouse. This keyboard is the Corsair K57 RGB wireless, and despite it being a membrane keyboard, I'm actually quite happy with it. I do wish the keys were mechanical, but that doesn't take away from the complete customization you get with the Corsair iQ software of not only the RGBs, but more importantly with the 5 extra macro buttons on the side. Those buttons on the side would allow you to rock a Stream Deck less setup if you're on a tighter budget, and you could just use those keys very easily to like switch switch your live stream scenes and whatnot, and you'd be perfectly fine. The mouse that I went with is this Razer Basilisk X Hyperspeed Wireless. As you can tell, I was going for a wireless peripheral setup here, and for just 50 bucks, this one turned out pretty great as well. It's rocking 6 programmable buttons, a rather bigger size footprint, which is better for people like me with large hands, and I didn't notice any latency whatsoever when gaming, as you can tell with some of these semi-pro performances.
There's 2 kills. That's how we roll in Fortnite, man. Aimbot. They call me Aimbot. Look at the viewership numbers going up.
And then finally, the last part of the setup is right here underneath the keyboard and mouse. Of course, we'll need an extended gaming mouse pad, and this one from K-Trio at only $17 was perfectly fine. So with all that being said, here's what the final parts list is looking like, and as you can see, this setup is certainly not on a strict budget, but I do think that it's packing some serious value, as there's nothing here that I would really cheap out on if you're looking to produce a really high quality live stream. You certainly don't need to start out with this high of a quality live stream. That's pretty unrealistic to a lot of people, but hopefully this video gave you some inspiration if you're looking to drop some money on your next streaming setup.
Wow, sit down, son. This is just too easy. This is literally too easy. How many kills is that? That's gotta be like 100 kills in this game. Unreal.